by a steel company at the cost of several $1 million. The City Methodist Church has become infamous. And this is its story. The construction of the City Methodist Church began in 1925. It would be completed in 1927 at a cost of almost $1 million, which is the equivalent of $7 million today. The U.S. Steel Company, which employed the majority of the people who lived in the neighborhood that City Methodist would be built, paid for the majority of the cost. The first Mass would be held on October 3rd of 1925. The construction of the church would go forward thanks to William Grant Seaman, a doctor who would eventually become a pastor, and in 1916 wanted to build a new church that would be both a religious and cultural center for the community. Judge Elbert Gary, the man the town of Gary was named after, and the chairman of U.S. Steel, would donate a massive, intricately designed organ to the church. The impressive size of the church led to its fair share of criticism. Many would claim it was far too big for the small size of the congregation. And immediately upon its opening, it had financial issues, as maintenance costs were incredibly expensive. Shortly after opening, it gained the nickname Seaman's Folly, a play on the name of the pastor that worked so hard to build it. Despite that, the congregation continued to grow, but it wouldn't last forever. So this is the part of the church that is most photogenic and the most famous. See right there, that used to hold a bunch of debris falling from the roof, but looks like it broke through. But I'm going to take a look at the rest of the church. You have this incredible archway here at the entrance, and that's the main part of the church there. Got a cool fireplace here, and some stairs. We can go check out. It's over here. I believe there's an auditorium over here. Wow, just look at that. That is beautiful. So that's where I just came from, and this is the beautiful, beautiful auditorium. Wow. It is just incredible. There's stairs right there that lead up to the stage. If you look back there, it looks like there's some more stairs. And I think they just lead up there. Just amazing. I'm gonna head upstairs, see what else this place has to offer. All the world's a stage, and we are but actors. Alright, let's go to the second floor. We got this right here. No stair having motherfricker. Wow. It's incredible. Look at this. Amazing. Poetry by Boots. Huh. Look at that.
In case you fall. Recording in case the stairs collapse.
Yeah, you gotta get them views. Wow. Look at that. That's beautiful. Sorry about the wind. Ooh. Interesting. Huh. How cool.
Yeah, this is where you can get a really good view of the cathedral.
Ah, sun.
I like how a lot of these stairs are like partially collapsed, but if you follow enough of them, there's a way to get up to the top.
Yeah.
Like this staircase is collapsed on the third and the second floor, but the first and third floor, yeah.
It's a game, it's a strategy game. Found another Poetry by Boots right there. We need to start keeping track of this, you know? Like, it's like Pokemon. You know, gotta find all the Poetry by Boots.
Gotta pull it all, gotta pull it all. I don't know.
Well, there's Gary, Indiana. It's a really beautiful city. I really like Gary. I really like this city. Just a closer view of the place. Hope you're not afraid of heights. You can kind of see the rest of the church right here. Sorta, kinda. What an incredible place. By 1927, the congregation had grown to 1,700. Many parishioners began to dislike Pastor Seaman, and eventually he was removed. In September of 1929, a new pastor would come and take over the congregation. The church saw a major decline during the Great Depression, as it could no longer afford the maintenance costs needed to upkeep the impressively large structure. In 1945, they would receive a $50,000 grant that would help them cover some of the maintenance costs. Seaman Hall, which was constructed adjacent to the church, would be occupied by the Indiana University in 1949. In the 1950s, the church's congregation would surpass 3,000. City Methodist Church became a center of culture and religion in Gary, Indiana. Seaman's Hall would often host plays and musical events, with one of the best music programs of any church in the state. But that would not last for much longer. In the 1960s, everything went downhill not only for the City Methodist Church, but for Gary, Indiana. They began closing community programs just to stay afloat. Throughout the 1960s and the 1970s, Gary's Children's Theater and Gary Music Theater would operate out of Seaman Hall. By 1973, the congregation had been reduced to only 320 people. On October 5th of 1975, it would officially close for good. In 2005, the city of Gary announced that they were going to demolish the church. It was saved in July of that same year by the city's planning director, David Wright. He proposed to keep the Gothic church and allow it to grow into a garden-like ruin. He wanted to renovate parts of the church and use it as some sort of park. In order to fund the project, they were going to sell much of the inside material, including the stained glass windows and copper. However, scrappers had gotten there first. With everything already torn out, there was no way that they could afford this project, and it was canceled. The ashes of Dr. William Seaman are still buried inside the church's sanctuary, and the future of the church is unclear. The City Methodist Church is an absolutely beautiful place that's had a major impact on Gary, Indiana. And it will never be forgotten.
What's the point of